All right, we're in the office yet again, and it's time to look at this new printer I have over here. Pretty excited about it. We've got the Ender 3 V3 from Creality. So there's no SE, there's no KE after that. This is just the Ender 3 V3. It's a CoreXY 3D printer, which is kind of an interesting design. And I'm gonna get set up here so that we can start filming this live stream. Now, I don't have my tripod set up, so bear with me while I get all this going. I need to get my tripod and all that kind of stuff. So let me know in the comments if there's anything in particular you want to check out on this machine. This is it. I mean, it's basically like the Creality K1, except it's a Bedslinger. But it's going to be a fast Bedslinger at that. So I'm going to go get my tripod, going to turn some lights on. We'll get started here. Okay, tripod time. Hold on. Let me cover some of that up. So what printer is this? This is the Ender 3 V3. It was supposed to come out last year, but they delayed it a couple of times. I'm not sure what the exact reason was for that, but in any case, we have it now, so let's check it out. Okay. I'll probably do a couple videos about this thing because it's pretty hype. It's a very hyped up 3D printer at this point because it's got such an interesting design. And it will be the culmination of all the Ender 3s into something possibly quite good. So here's the CoreXY stage. You can see around back. Wow, that's kind of interesting. There's all sorts of cool stuff to look at here, so we'll be taking a close look at all this as we get it put together. So there's the CoreXY stage. And then I'll pull the bottom half out of the box here. And this is nice and compact, very small. Okay, there you go. It's just two pieces. So, hold on a sec. What do you guys think? I'm going to get caught up with the chat, see what's going on with you guys, and then we're going to start putting this thing together and taking a closer look at everything. How do I see the chat? Live chat? Okay, there we go. Very Ender. Yeah, 220 by 220 by 250 probably. Right here you can see 220 by 220. That goes together really nice. This is really compact. This is the smallest base I've seen on an Ender 3 yet. So, you know, this is... It reminds me of those miniature DVD players that were a thing right before, you know, everyone stopped having DVD players. Super small. And then this is the top half, which is also very nice. This is all die-cast aluminum, so I mean, this is like the Cybertruck type of thing. This is the Cybertruck of Bedslingers, essentially. Lots of wacky design decisions. Die-cast in 2 pieces with as much stuff baked into one part as possible. And there's just all sorts of crazy little design quirks here. So first of all, the top and bottom rod are different sizes. This top one is a larger diameter, and this bottom one is a smaller diameter. So that's pretty weird. Not only that, the top rod is running on a graphite-lined bushing. The bottom is running on a linear bearing. So they're not even using the same type of bearing on this, which would it'd probably make things a little bit easier for Creality if they were just sourcing the same part for both of them. But I assume there is some kind of design rationale for switching that up. This whole thing is die-cast. This whole frame is just one piece. There's no welds. There's no bolted together pieces. It's just one solid part. This whole thing. And then along this backside, there's the mounts for the stepper motors. And these stepper motors are quite large. They're, deeper than they are wide. So that's probably like a 50 millimeter stepper motor. 48 it says here. So that's like 48 millimeter stepper motors is what Creality used to use for their extruders. So high torque kind of applications. One thing that's kind of weird is this is a little bit wobbly like this. Can you see this? It's wobbly. Let me put it down on the table. Much wobble. But when you bolt this all together, this base is going to prevent that kind of flexing mode from happening. So it shouldn't be an issue. All right, next up, let's take a look around back. Now, a lot of the time, people are concerned about when the power goes out on these things. The stepper motors would allow this to just fall, right? Well, they put a couple springs down here at the bottom to absorb that impact. Boing. Just a couple little springs. So if this were to just fall down, it kind of gets caught by those springs. Also, for the wiring, they have a couple limit switches up at the top. And this is crazy. This appears to be a 3D printed part. This was either printed with a laser or HP's multi-jet fusion technology. So this is 3D printed right here. I'm not sure. It's got kind of this sugar cube texture. But I assume on the production parts they'll have these injection molded. But this is a pretty early unit, so 3D printed part right here, very cool. Up top we have like complex pulleys and bearings and all that kind of stuff. It looks like there's a spring in there, so there's some kind of tensioning system to help you set the belt tension, because that's one big thing with this type of printer, is the belt tension is very important. So this is all quite interesting. You've got a linear rod on this side, linear rod on this side. Got a linear rod on both sides. Then here's some bearing blocks on this side and over here. This one's got a filament runout detection sensor attached to it. So as you route your cable in here, you can check if it's running out. Here's a part cooling fan on the back. And there's also one on the front. That's crazy. That's more part cooling than you get on the Ender 3, no, the Creality KE. Also, there's a lot more going on back here in terms of the PCB. So, on the normal K1, it's just this front half. On this Ender 3 V3, there's this whole backpack of additional electronics back here, and I'm not sure what all that does. But maybe we'll figure that out as we go along here. Oh, wow. Whoa, they redesigned a lot of this, actually. They redesigned a ton of this. This is not similar to the K1 at all, except for the way that this looks on the front. There's no PCB inside of this, which is kind of a big deal. A lot of people, myself included, complained about the PCB kind of being jammed in there and not having adequate cooling. But it looks like it's just a heat sink inside of there. So we'll take a look at that after we get this put together a little bit more. We've got a wire running along the side here. Looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 wires. So yeah, they're just kind of glued onto the side here so that it runs the cables all the way up to the top. Not sure what this sensor's for. I guess it's some sort of like some kind of limit switch. Oh yeah, there you go. So this goes up to the top. There's a limit switch on the bottom, this red one, and a limit switch on the side here. It goes up to the top to 0, and it goes over here to 0 again, and then that's its origin, or how it's able to home. That's quite interesting. Okay, let's take a look at the base of the machine, because that also has some interesting stuff going on in it. And hold on, before we get too much further, I'm going to well, shoot. Hold on. I'm gonna grab my laptop in a second here. This is the Ender 3 V3, no SE or KE. This is a new model. So 1 second. Okay, how's the stream quality, everyone? I'm gonna get caught up on chat a little bit before we start putting this thing together and seeing all the goodies. This thing was delayed multiple times, and it looks like they were working on the design quite a bit, because it's very different than what I saw on the Ender 3 KE. So they're putting in work here at Creality. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to I need to get something. Okay. I need to get something added to my stream here. I'm going to see if I can do that on my laptop. Creality has to work on their naming. 3 different Ender 3 V3s on the market. Yeah. Maybe so. I'm going to add some details to this stream just because I forgot to, put some stuff on here. So please bear with me for just a moment. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully nobody's skipping work for this. Okay. Also, mandatory disclaimer, or I guess, I should just tell you guys that obviously this printer isn't out yet, so Creality sent this to me. This isn't sponsored or anything. I'm just taking a look at this thing because I like to see the latest and greatest from what Creality has to offer. So let's see. Chat. It's XZ. Little title wrong. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to trigger everyone, I guess. It boosts engagement. Okay, everyone, give this video a like if you're watching. Okay, 7:14 in Norway, so 7:14 p.m. Looks plastic frame. It is not a plastic frame. This is all die-cast aluminum, including this whole frame on the bottom. This is super solid. It's a really interesting design, if you ask me. So, I mean, I have the bottom piece of another, some of Creality's other printers. So this is the bottom, like, steel plate that comes on the Ender 3 V3 SE, which is already a quite small printer. But if you look at this, this is even smaller than that. So it's like an inch off of either side in terms of like how much narrower they've made the base. So it's a super small printer. I could probably fit like 3 of these on this relatively small table here. But enough about that. What else do we want to talk about with this thing? I guess here's the cables. This goes to the tool head. These go to the stepper motors. We've got a tiny little connector here that goes up to those limit switches up top. If you look at the size of this pulley, this is an idler pulley. They used a really large diameter. I'm not entirely sure why they used one that large. My initial guess is that the larger you make the diameter for your idler pulleys, the less friction losses you have, because the idler pulley doesn't have to rotate as fast. So lower RPM means that your bearings are generating less heat, and also you're flexing the belt less. So all of that plays a role when you're trying to go extremely fast. Also, these linear rails are quite beefy down here. This is more sturdy than the Ender 3 KE, the Ender 3 V3 KE and the Ender 3 V3 SE. It's just got more structure to it. So we'll see how that affects print quality and speed. Oh wow, in terms of what's going on underneath the bed, let's take a look at this. We've got 4 of these load cells, 1 at each corner. And this looks like a nice water jet aluminum plate. Down here, this is the carriage plate. Helps keep everything small and flat and lightweight. And here's on the back side, you can see pretty much the same thing. All right, and we've got a bunch of connectors going to this. The bed basically has its own computer on here because it's controlling 4 of these. It might have its own MCU just for the bed because it's got 4 load cells here, and you're only sending 4 cables out to control all 4 of those, so that'll probably be a power, a ground, and a serial communications cable. So yeah, probably its own MCU just for the bed. And hopefully, I don't know, I can't really tell right now, but I'm hoping they included a accelerometer on the bed so that it can do its y-axis input shaping. But I would have to take this apart to really be able to tell that for certain. Okay, so here's the print surface. They're giving you a nice golden PEI sheet, which is good. The K1 comes with that kind of matte sticker thing, which I'm not a huge fan of, just because I feel like the textured PEI is the gold standard at this point. I mean, just look at it. It's literally gold. How fast do they claim it'll print? Everyone knows that that's the most important number. Well, I've seen this thing printing at FormNext, and it was quite fast, so I would assume that it prints as fast as they claim it will. Creality doesn't really exaggerate on their print speed claims. If anything, they've been under-exaggerating. If you look at the K1, I don't know about the K1C, but at least the initial K1, They didn't talk about how it could go up to 800 millimeters per second, which is absolutely crazy. Okay, and just like the other K1 printers, I'm just going to call this the Ender 3 K1 because that's essentially what it is. Or the Ender 3 V3 K1. Just call it the Ender 3 K1. Like, that's what it is to me. It's using all the K1 parts, it's got K1 speed, and it's using, you know, the same screen and computer and operating system for the most part. Anyways, let's get this plugged in. I really like these screens that Creality's been putting on all of their latest high-end printers because it just makes these a lot easier to use. Okay, plugging this in is a bit of a... requires a bit of finesse. Oh, that's upside down. Okay, that probably explains it. So I'm gonna bring this off to the edge. And then that's pretty easy to plug in here. All right. Next step, let's get some more stuff attached here. Here's our spool holder, the most important part of any 3D printer. Of course, they just give you like this little crap pack of, you know, just loosely wound PLA. But I've got plenty of stuff around here. I've got plenty of filament to test out on this thing, so we won't be wanting for more PLA. Okay, we got some zip ties and some screws. All right, this I really like. There's only a single screw type here. I always complain about when I put a 3D printer together, I have to use like 5 different Allen wrenches to do it. This one, it looks like they standardized on a single screw type. That's always good to see because that just makes everything a lot easier to put together and get started with. Okay, so please ensure the correct position for the power supply switch is on. So you can't put the printer together without looking at and acknowledging the sticker. It says, please don't set it to the wrong setting for the power supply. It would be nice if they had an automatically, you know, a power supply that automatically detected and used the right voltage setting. But the Ender 3 has always been about providing a printer for as cheap as possible, and that's what they're doing here. They're trying to give you K1 speeds while getting the price down as much as possible using, you know, all the tricks to make a printer less expensive. But seems like the build quality is there on this thing. So let's just install these 4 screws. I was kind of disappointed when this thing didn't come out like last November when they announced it. But if they need to spend some more time making sure to get it right, then that's the right thing to do. Unlike, you know, certain other companies whose bed cables had issues. I will not name the companies involved, but just take a look at this bed cable. This thing's like an absolute chunky monkey. All right. So let's get these screwed in here. It's so easy. Yay. Alright, so we got the right side. Time to do the left side. I'm doing screwdriver faster than this. That cable will survive some abuse for sure. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe if Creality rushed this thing to market, they'd have issues, but it seems like they took their time on it, and I'm really hoping this goes without a hitch and we just fire it up and print with it, because that's what we should expect from printers nowadays. All right, we got the left side. Now time to do the right side. Okay, that was pretty easy. Then it looks like the filament spool holder just kind of snaps on right there. And that all just snaps together. That's not difficult at all. What else do we have? I guess maybe there's some stuff up here. I guess, yeah, probably what this is there's a couple screws that are attached to the side here. These two screws that this attaches to, just like this. I'm assuming there's a couple holes on the top here. So I'll try to show you without knocking this printer off the table. There's a couple screws on the top here. And I assume that you could relocate the spool holder up there if you wanted this thing to take up a little bit less space on your desk. Okay. Oh, oops, I yanked the... Don't pick it up by the screen. That's not gonna work very well. So yeah, if you pick it up, just, you know, grab it by here. I guess that's one thing that you want to watch out for there. There's not really a handle on this thing. I guess you just pick it up from the top like this if you're going to be moving it around. Just like, in terms of weight, this feels like about 20 pounds. It's not super heavy. The base is solid and pretty well built, so there's a little bit of mass there, but altogether, seems nice. So let's get everything plugged in here. Plugged in the stepper motor over here. Plug in this stepper motor over there. We've got this tiny little connector that goes up to those limit switches up top. And filament runout detection sensor. And then tool head. Alright, not a bad looking machine, eh? What do you guys think of it? Is this enough to turn you into a Creality fanboy? I mean, with everyone releasing their, everyone returning their A1 printers from Bamboo Lab, maybe it's time to pick up a Creality printer instead, eh? The timing on this just couldn't be better. Okay, so just one zip tie back there to attach everything. The machine comes with a pair of clippers, so that's nice. And I think we're ready to power this thing up. I'm going to check the quick start guide just to make sure I didn't skip anything. Oh yeah, and then there's the power supply setting. You want to make sure the power supply is set to the correct voltage. Oh yeah, we got to test this out too, guys. Now I know I joke around a lot on this channel, but there's an important safety test that I think we need to do here. I think I saw Nero doing this one. There was a bit of a GIF over on his channel. But basically, we need to test our printers to make sure we can tip them on their back during assembly. Alright, we tipped it on its back. Then we tip it back right side up. Alright, did that destroy the printer? Am I going to need to send this one back now, or are we good here? Okay, let's try it one more time. Back. And while we're down here, you know what? Let's just take a look inside of this machine. Let's see the guts. Unless you guys don't want to see the guts, just let me know. I always like seeing what's going on inside of these 3D printers. So let's just pop it open here. Looks like we've got two fans. We got our little feetsies here. All these screws, I think, are threading directly into this cast aluminum base. I saw some people in the comments didn't believe that this is cast aluminum. They said it looked like plastic. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm literally telling you that it's cast aluminum. So, I don't know. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to take my word for it. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on inside of here. So I'm not sure what the MSRP is. I think it's like 300 something. I think it's between $300 and $400. Don't quote me on that though. But at that price, what do you guys think? Is $300-ish too much to pay for an Ender 3? Now remember, Creality typically offers free shipping on all their products. Unlike certain manufacturers that charge you a little bit for shipping so that they can hit that lower MSRP. Also, Creality has a lot of sales. Like, their printers go on sale like 6 times a year at least. So, yeah. Should be able to get this for even lower than the MSRP pretty easily. Okay, who's ready to see the guts? Let's take a look-see. I'm going to get caught up on the thingies here. Okay, depends on the extruder and life expectancy of the rails, says Herzelnerk. 300 seems fair, but yeah, I'd wait for a sale or some deal. Yes, hello Luke's Lab, welcome back. Hopefully I don't get in the way of your work too much today. Okay. So we've got, this is all cast aluminum. I mean, I don't know what to tell you if you don't believe me, but it's literally right here. You can see it's metal. I could scratch some away and show you the shininess of it, but yeah. I mean, this looks clean though. This is the cleanest inside I've seen on a Creality machine. Real simple, power supply, main board, a little bit of area for cable management, power plug. This is the spot for the that idler in the back of the printer, and then here's the Y-axis drive motor. But interestingly enough, it looks like it wouldn't be too difficult to set this up with a 2-stepper motor configuration. So if I just drilled a couple more holes in here, I could probably put a second stepper motor down here and get this thing going even faster. I don't know who would want to see that. What kind of sick, twisted individuals would want to see a printer moving that fast? But I'm going to go ahead and say that that would be possible to do. In terms of the main board, it looks really similar to what we've seen on the K1 printers. So the K1, K1 Max, K1C, even the CR10 SE also looks pretty similar to this. So these are all using Creality's latest main board. That's got all of your MCUs on there, so it's able to control the bed, the stepper motors, all that stuff. And it's also got some kind of computer. I'm pretty sure it's got like some kind of, something running Linux, essentially, that can power the screen and do all the Wi-Fi functionality. So nothing too different here. Looks like we've got a little dust on this cable. So this has been through some testing at Creality HQ, which is understandable. Seems like they've been doing a lot of research and development on these machines and making sure they're all up to task before they release it. Thickness of wires, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I could get a pair of calipers out, but it's sufficient, we'll say. The wire thickness is sufficient. It's typical for what you'd see on 3D printers. So yeah. Also, this is running a 350 watt power supply, 24 volts, 14 amps. So it's probably using a DC heated bed. You don't have to worry about the AC heated bed, producing dangerous voltages for you. Over here, you've got a 42 by 48 motor, which is exactly the same as what you've got over here. So every stepper motor on this thing, except for the one in the extruder, is the same size. So that helps reduce part count and makes that part of it a little bit simpler. Also, all of these stepper motors are sinking their heat directly into the frame because they're bolted to aluminum pieces. So Thermal management for all these stepper motors should be excellent. We don't have to worry about them overheating. Even this main board here is going to be able to sink some of its heat into the frame of this machine and the power supply. So really good design overall. Pretty impressed. This looks like some kind of breakout board. Interesting. So let's see. We've got, I don't want to get too derailed here, but it looks like this goes out to the nozzle. So maybe we've got a couple wires for positive and negative to split the voltage or the current up. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is too much to unpack in the unboxing live stream. So I'll probably be doing a deeper dive on this when I do my full video, which should be out in a couple weeks, coinciding with the release of the printer. So, what did you guys think of the inside? Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what did you think of the inside of the Ender 3? It looks surprisingly clean to me. We've got this nice ribbon cable. Everything's just like super tidy in there. I assume you need to have some kind of antenna for the Wi-Fi to be able to escape this Faraday enclosure of a base. So maybe they have a Wi-Fi chip inside of the screen here. Yeah. Wait, up here? Huh. Oh, what? I think I found it. Let's see, what's this? Yeah, okay. So the Wi-Fi antenna, I'll show you when I flip this thing back over. But it pokes through this little hole right here, and it goes into the front Y-axis rail mount. So I'll point at that when I get this put back together and flipped back right side up. But yeah, there you go. Okay, now I have to reattach a mere 10 screws here, whatever it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 screws. Nice. And we'll see if we need to do a silent fan mod on this machine. You know, I do a silent fan mod on just about every machine I get my hands on, whether it needs it or not. On the bottom, there's also a couple, there's 4 more holes down here, so I need to put some screws in those. That helps hold the frame together. So let's get everything all finished. Now the steel base is actually going to add a little bit more rigidity to this frame. How much will it matter? Maybe not, but it will prevent certain modes of flexion. Okay. I wish these were, it was easier to take these bottom panels off, but I guess most people never do it in the lifetime of their printer, so I suppose it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we've got all 4 of those back, all 8 of those screws back in. I wanted to point out the Wi-Fi antenna. It's inside of this part right here, this front bar. Hopefully you can see that. Front bar right here, Wi-Fi is hidden inside of there, just so it can get a signal out of there. Oh, was I supposed to tip it on its back like this? Guys, tell me if it's okay for me to tip this on its back like this. Because I heard that sometimes it's not okay to do that to your printers. Okay, so we'll loosen up. Pretty sure I did the wrong order of operations here, so I'm going to loosen up the 4 frame screws that are holding the top and the bottom together. And then I'm going to insert the 4 screws here. So altogether it's 8 of these, I think these are M4 size screws that are all the same type of screw, so it's really easy to, you're not having to worry about getting your fasteners mixed up. Just 8 screws and this thing goes together. So pretty simple. And we'll tighten these up. Just put a little bit of torque into them. And then we'll tighten up the 4 that I had put in initially. Now the reason why I think you need to tighten the ones on the bottom first, which this is probably all documented in their instructions, is that the ones on the bottom are gonna, basically establish the relationship between the top and the bottom. And then the ones on the side here are slotted holes. So it's not just a hole, they're slotted, which allows for some sliding and adjustment. And once you've got everything put together, then you can tighten those up. I think that's the deal. Okay, so here you go. Ta-da! That was very easy, wasn't it? What else do you guys want to see? Let's see how many people we've got in the live stream. 256, 259. That's a new record for me. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Make sure to like, give the video a thumbs up, and subscribe. Press that subscribe button. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'm going to catch up on the chat while you guys admire the beauty of this, this nice die-cast aluminum frame. Creality won't make any manual bed leveling printers. Yep, that's right. It seems like that's the case. They're rocking a standard nozzle or a proprietary one. This looks like the unicorn nozzle that's on the K1, or the K1C, if I had to guess. I'm not 100% sure. Might as well take a look at it while we're at it. Right, guys? Okay. Let's take a look-see. I know my way around these extruders now pretty well, just because this is like pretty common on the new Creality machines. They've got their new extruder and hot end system with the tool headboard, with something on there to do input shaping. So let's pull this off. Okay, yeah, this is very different. Anyone who's opened up a K1 hot end will immediately see how this is not the same. So, all right, we've got a board up front here, which I guess handles the fan, the hot end, the thermistor, fan, another fan. We've got a new heatsink, which I really like. That's one of the complaints I had on the K1C, is that it's kind of still using the K1 heatsink, which I feel like isn't optimal. I mean, it's a little bit heavy. It probably does the job just fine, but having something like this is going to be a lot cheaper and offer better cooling. So nice to see that. Yeah, it's using the unicorn nozzle, I'm fairly certain. That goes all the way up through this whole thing. Let's pull this off so you can take a look-see. I'm just gonna leave that on. Just take my word for it. I'll get it. Just it's just a little tricky to get off there. Okay, there's your nozzle set up. It's the unicorn nozzle. That's what they're using on the K1C. So it's a proprietary nozzle. Some people might not like that. I don't particularly like it, but if it works well, then it shouldn't be an issue. The thing about Creality is when they adopt a new standard, there's going to be parts for it pretty much indefinitely just because of how many printers they sell. There's enough money in selling spare parts for Creality products that like Triangle Labs and all those other companies are going to produce stuff for them. And yeah, so that's how that'll work. Okay, and the extruder is slightly different as well. I don't want to get into all of these technical details. We're already getting a little bit too deep for this. This is just an unboxing video, guys. We're just here to unbox the printer. But around back, we've got another PCB, which, I mean, that's probably going to have some extra stuff there. You can see it's kind of like got this backpack with a fan there, or a vent hole. So there's more PCB stuff going on back there. That's probably where your accelerometer and your microprocessor and all that stuff will be for the hot end. Also, you've got the stepper motor for the extruder back there. And this thing, I'm surprised they didn't talk about this in the marketing material. It's got a second fan back here. That's absurd. So you've got a fan on the back side. You've got a fan on the front side. So you've got like a complete deluge of air converging on the nozzle. So it should be able to have excellent part cooling. And that's one of the advantages of a Bedslinger, is you have better part cooling because of the open frame. So yeah. 273, all right. We're hitting records by the minute here. Welcome everyone. Welcome. So I guess it's time to just plug this thing on and start printing, huh? Well, let me get these two screws back in place. But yeah, this hot end, I thought they were just gonna copy what the... Wait, let me point the camera up so I can talk to you guys a little bit. So yeah, this hot end, I thought they were just gonna copy what they had on the K1 because that would be the easy way to do it. And I don't want to be mean, but you know, a lot of these 3D printer companies tend to take the easy way out when they're doing their development and design life cycles. But it looks like Creality really put in a lot of new design work on this machine. So hopefully that pays off, and it's going to be their new flagship for at least the Ender 3 lineup, if not the whole shebang, the whole Ender 3 Creality ecosystem. So, yep, we got that all attached. Very cool. This, there's a lot of technical details to get into here. I'll show you one thing that I'm just going to hint at, but we're not going to do a deep dive on it right now. Just due to, you know, we got to save something for the main video. But if you pull on this, it's not directly bolted to this bushing. It's loaded in like a spring-loaded carriage, which should help reduce the amount of backlash. And that's something that I've seen on a couple other 3D printers. It should help increase precision and increase print quality. So it's really nice to see that on this machine. It'll just get rid of backlash, essentially. Because, you know, we're getting too much into the lectures. I did a lecture last night. I was lecturing way too much nowadays. But anyways, let's get this plugged in. Shoot, and I didn't check the power setting for the power supply. That's alright. I assume that it should be set to the right setting just because I'm in the US and the world revolves around us. So I'm just going to plug it in and turn it on. There you go. That was easy. Alright, we got our nice, beautiful, full color, nice, bright display here with an awesome touchscreen that's super responsive. And we have a light up logo up front. That is fancy. Wow. We are just too fancy today. Right up here we got our light up logo up top so that you know that it's a Creality even in the dark. Is it like an A1 without the poop? Yes, essentially. This should be faster than the A1, like by a good margin. So we'll have to see. We're going to test it out a little bit. English. Oh no, privacy policy. Collect information about you to make it easier for satisfying you and other users to use Creality services. We'll collect and obtain information through the following channels. So the information you provide us, the shared information you provide to whatever, cookies and log files. You know what? I agree. Wait. What if I don't agree? If I don't agree, can I just hit next? See, I can check it to say I agree, but uncheck, we'll hit next. Huh? Oh, there's some stuff there. So we're gonna get logged in here. I can skip the network setup, but I think I'm gonna set it up just because I think I'm gonna get my network set up just because I want to show the user interface on my my laptop. Typing in passwords was fun. All right. We're logging in. Okay, he's a free agent not bounded by privacy agreements. It's probably running crippled Clipper. You could call it Cripper if you wanted. It should be fine though. From people, you know, Creality's been really good about uploading the source code for their machines. So you've been able to, like on the K1 and K1C and the Ender 3, all their machines, they release the source code so that you can put your own version of Marlin or Clipper or whatever you want on those. So I really like that. Let's see, we got the, we're setting everything up. Oh. I'm not gonna get away with it, am I? Hold on, let me flip the camera around for you. Your consent to the privacy agreement is required to use the service. Reconsider. IoT initialization failed. Creality print binding. Yeah, okay, so I guess we skipped the cloud setup and connection. So that's kind of nice. So I never agreed to the privacy agreement. I just clicked next. And then when it asked if I wanted to reconsider so I could join the cloud, I said, nah. And then hit next, and it's like, okay, fine, if you insist. So now we'll do start detecting. It's going to do its automatic self-test. So start detecting. So it's going to do nozzle heating, heat bed heating, heat bed, heat break fan, mainboard fan, input shaping, auto leveling. All right. Says it should take about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to read comments while you guys... you know, watch this thing do its thing. Do not touch the printer. Okay, I touched it. Sorry, guys. Wireshark running if it hits anything. You know, I'm too lazy to do that. Oh, you can hear me though. I need a mic. The thing is my network isn't connected to the internet, so this thing can't talk to Creality HQ even if it wanted to. I'm just noticing that I should probably put some. Oh yeah, I'm messing this up royally, aren't I? I need to put this over here. Ugh. Okay. I need to put this right there. And then probably a zip tie somewhere. I mean, it seems like it's holding on to it well enough. We got our cable back there. That's one thing I noticed about this machine when I was watching it run at FormNext is the cable management is super nice. Hopefully that doesn't mess with the input shaper with me touching the printer. Let's get everything set up here. Hold on. Man. Okay, there we go. How do you tension the belts on the V3? It has some belt tensioners. So if you look around back here, it has springs and stuff. There's like a spring built into that joint, and it does the belt tensioning by itself. So I'm not sure how to do it, but if I needed to adjust that, I'm sure it's like gonna be pretty easy to set that up. All right. What's the A1? I don't know of a printer that you can buy right now that's called the A1. Something about a fire hazard. Nah, we don't have to redo the input shaping. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so I guess it's just crunching the numbers for the input shaping it just ran. All right, I'm gonna read some more comments. We got some downtime here while it thinks about all the data it just gathered on the vibration and stuff. Can you do any upgrades on the V3? You sure can. It's a little more difficult than the good old days of Ender 3 modding. Oh yeah, it's direct drive. I should have showed the extruder a little bit, but it looks slightly different than even the Ender 3, even the K1C that just came out. It's expensive for Ender series. Yeah, it is, but it's also nice for an Ender series, wouldn't you say? Like, oh, oh, it's doing the y-axis also for input shaping, I think. Cool. So I wonder if there's an accelerometer inside of the base of the machine, like on that carriage for the y-axis. That would be nice. This has the highest build quality of any of the Creality machines I've handled yet, so if it costs a little more, I'm okay with that. All right, so that's the sound of build quality right there. There we go. Sounds like it's got a pretty nasty vibrational mode right there, but probably be fine. So apparently, I assume it should be able to support a webcam. So there's a USB port right here. I wonder if you plug it in there or if you have to plug it into the base somewhere. That remains to be seen. All right, hopefully I set this up right. I never read the instructions, so you never know what I'm going to mess up. Much like mainsail, I'd suggest a mount on the spool on the top and get rid of the Bowden. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you can relocate it to the top. So there's 2 screws down here that you can undo and bolt in up here instead if you want to. There's 2 threaded holes up there. So if you want to mount it on top, you can. I kind of like having the low mounted setup, so I don't mind it. I think you'd have to relocate the filament runout detection sensor as well, but I'm sure there's going to be a printable mod for that. If not, like before it's released, then immediately after it's released, because a lot of people will probably want to set it up that way. All right, we got a flash drive that we'll plug in, and we'll see what's on there. Oh my! I'm just picking up this Anchor Make M5C because this is probably the most similar printer, and it's massive compared to this thing. It weighs like twice as much, but it's got the same size print area. So interesting. All right, let's see. Oof. Yikes. I don't like what happens to this Bowden tube up at the top, but it'll probably be fine. That's another reason why you might want to do a top-mounted spool and reroute everything so that you don't have that Bowden tube getting kind of pinched up at the top. But I just like this side-mounted spool thing. I'm going to run with it like that for now. 220 by 220 by 250? I guess so. I'm not entirely sure. I can read the box and see what it says. Whoa. I don't know what this is. This came with the printer. Anyone have any idea what this is for? Is it for the spool holder? I guess, maybe? Maybe it's like a brake to keep the spool from spinning too fast. Okay. I've never seen that before. Yeah, there it is. We've got it on the picture. So let's see if I missed any steps. This is deja vu. It sent me back to the beginning. Maybe I have to agree to the privacy policy. All right, well, we're going to go through the self-check again. This time I agreed to the privacy policy. Let's see. Oh. Okay. So the voltage switch is behind this support on the left side. So that's why it tells you to check it before you, you get started with it. So let's let it go through its thing one more time. Maybe I have the wrong voltage set on there. I'll try checking that if it doesn't work after this round. Okay. All right, we're in a time loop. Why is he acting like a total amateur? My goodness. I'll get a spool and set that up. But the thing kind of restarted after it ran the self-test. So I don't know what that's all about. We're going to have to investigate that if it restarts again without getting past that step. I might try reading the instructions too. All right, I've got my filament here. This is going to be the Ender 3 V3. It says right here. I think they need to stiffen up the bed a little bit. I think that's what was kind of flopping back and forth. Okay, hopefully this time it works. How many steppers? V3 is 800 millimeters. That's insane. V3 is 600, I think. That's what I read, but I haven't looked at any of the latest marketing stuff. Okay. Okay, it's done with that. Now let's see if it restarts the printer again. Okay. Here it says, well, let's just see what happens, because this is where it restarted last time. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be it. The voltage setting could be wrong. I'll check that if it restarts again. So now it's doing auto leveling. I guess now it fired up the power supply and stuff. And if it's like drawing too much power, then it could flip off, so we'll have to see. That filament's gonna get all messed up. Did you check the wire to bed for shorts? No. I went to purchase an A1 and it was coming soon and the universe saved me. I guess I hadn't heard. Oh! See, now it's turned itself off, so let's figure out what's going on here. Now I didn't check the voltage setting, which I'm assuming this is what's causing the issue. That will solidly be user error if that's the case, but let's check it out. In order to check the voltage setting, I should have done it before I, got started with everything here, but I kind of jumped the gun and put the printer together too soon without looking at things. It happens, but I just have to undo these 8 screws to adjust this thing that I should have adjusted before I got started here. Yep. Exciting. Now I have to undo everything. Why did I do this to myself? Okay, pop this off. All right. It's my fault. I know it's tempting to blame the printer at times like this, but I didn't set the voltage correctly. Right now we're at 230. So when it went to go do some movement while the bed was on and all that stuff, it probably dipped the voltage down too low and caused the printer to restart. That is a little annoying how inaccessible that is, but unless you're frequently traveling with your 3D printer between 115 and 230 volt countries, that's probably not going to matter to you that much. Just, you know, follow the instructions. They even put a sticker on the front that prevented me from assembling the printer without acknowledging that I need to set the setting, but I did not listen to it. So, as much fun as it is to blame everything on Creality, I think I gotta man up here and accept responsibility for my stupid actions. So let's get this put back together, and we can watch this thing do input shaping one more time. Now, I'm either the world's dumbest 3D printer user, or the world's smartest live streamer that knows how to string you guys along for a long period of time. So there's always that possibility. Let me know what you think in the chat. Do you think I'm just 9,000 IQing this and keeping you guys engaged in the live stream for longer, or do you think I'm really that dumb? Okay, here goes. I guess the good thing about this is you won't accidentally flip the switch, since you have to partially disassemble the printer to get access to the button. Silver linings, everyone. Silver linings. I think I deserve a sticker for that one. I deserve a sticker here. Well done, me. Well done. Okay. Anyways, that would have been bad if this was like, you know, my first time using the printer and it was broken. But it appears that it's just bad that it's my first time using the printer and I'm dumb. So I think that's not as bad, technically. In the video description, there's a link to see Creality's website, and they might have some information about this printer there. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at it myself. But I should do like a pinned comment or something. Alright, be honest guys, how many of you have accidentally forgot to flip the power switch before? I can't be the only one. Okay, did I break the printer? Wait, let's try it one more time. Am I going to have to send it back to the factory to get repaired yet? Okay. That's how I knew it was your issue. I did it on my Ender 3 Max Neo. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one then. My sister changed it on the old Pentium computer back in the days, blew the PSU. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so let's get this going one more time. I think everything's ready to go now. In the meantime, I can show you what else I've been working on in the other room. I'm going to get this setup started, and then I'm just going to, I'm going to get this setup started, and then I'll show you what's going on in the other room. I'm testing a printer over there, and it's been a lot of work, so yeah. English. Da, da, da. See, I'm going to skip the privacy policy and see what happens. So I'll hit next. Goes to my network. Next. You can skip network setup as well if you just want to run this machine completely offline. International. Start detecting. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now, we'll let that run for the 10th time. And in the meantime, we'll go see what wonderful 3D printers we have in the other room. So, All right. This one. Artillery X4 Plus. I've been having some trouble getting a perfect first layer. And it's good enough. It gives you a good enough first layer. Like, I'll show you some of the results that I've been getting. I literally just printed this on the printer, like yesterday. Looks great, but that first layer leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, it stayed stuck for even this, like, relatively large print that took a long time. And, you know, there was points where it was kind of mashing against it and didn't cause any issues. So this thing's very well built. However, I would just like to see a perfect first layer coming off of this thing. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's all I want. I'm going to go ahead and print my test print. That'll do my first layer test. And we'll see what happens. So I've been going through all sorts of crap to try and get this to work. This is the old aluminum extrusion, or no, the old linear rail that was on there. And I took it off because I think it had a little bit of slop in there. So I'll show you what I mean. So this looks fine. Seems like it slides okay, right? Seems like a nice, you know, whatever. But let's take it over to the vise to inspect it more closely. And for those of you that lack object permanence, don't worry, the Ender 3 is in the other room, and we'll get back to it in a minute after it finally is able to complete its idiot-proof self-test. Apparently the self-test just keeps restarting if you're dumb until you get it right, so I guess that's kind of nice. Okay, so here goes. That's not wide enough. Well, I don't know. Is this an issue? Can you see that moving? Am I crazy? Hold on, let me set this down. Light speed. They all move a little. Welcome, Lightspeed. Okay. Let me get this set up. They all move a little, he says. Are we going to believe that? It moves. Is that too much slop? I mean, it's basically imperceptible, but I'm worried that it's causing an issue, so I've put this other one on just to see if I can rule that out. So take a look. I got the new one on here. And now, now it doesn't know where x equals 0 is, because I had to change the position of the homing sensor. But we'll see. Maybe the print will turn out better now. So yeah, I've been exhaustively testing this. The thing about Nathan Builds Robots, my channel, is that I don't just print something and I'm like, oh wow, it looks good, it can print. And then I'm like, oh yeah, buy it, here's the affiliate link. I keep testing it until I find its limits, and then I show you its limits, and I show you every possible mechanical issue that you might have. So that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do. That's the Artillery X4 Plus. So it's a 300 by 300 by 400. Is the Sprite extruder better than the old Sprite from the S1 Pro, since it has a different motor? Well, I assume you're talking about this Sprite extruder. This is the old classic. NBR, yeah, it's Nathan Builds Robots. That's the whole thing. If I had to, like when I sign stuff, I have to write that way. I think this extruder is plenty good enough for the job. It's strong enough, it's lighter, and, it does the extrusion thing just fine. The first revision of it was kind of messed up, so I had issues with that, and it sucked that was a problem, but now all the new ones that they've been making are fixed. Starting with the K1 Max, they released their new version of it, and then on the K1C, all of those are shipping with the new version, and even on the original K1s, they should be shipping with the new version now. And the way you can tell the difference is they have a white little grommet thing there. I think the older ones had a blue grommet to kind of distinguish which one's which model. So, yeah, that should be it should be all sorted out now. And now that they don't have that issue with the extruders coming loose, I think they're fine. They do the job just fine. They're lighter weight. Yeah. The issue is more likely the sensor or interference in the cable routing to the sensor, a minuscule amount of deflection under large loads from the linear rail. I don't know, man. Is there ever an update to the silent fan PCB? Yeah, I didn't. I have a couple left. I haven't gone into production with those. So I actually have 5 of them left. So if you want to try one of those, I've got those. Yeah. Okay, so blue retention clip, white grommet. I'm not sure what the difference was exactly, but if you look it up, there's a way to tell if you have the updated model or not. And on these ones, they all seem to be working really well, so not a whole lot to complain about there. Okay, stream giveaway. What am I going to give away? I don't have anything. What's your major? Just curious. I studied mechanical engineering in college. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. My master's focused on topology optimization. So if you look up topology optimization, it's really interesting. That's how they come up with a lot of the advanced 3D printed looking parts. They have the computer design the part essentially. So I was looking at different ways to have the computer design multiple parts of a mechanism at like simultaneously and hit certain like balance constraints. Because something about high-speed machinery is when it goes really fast, any kind of unbalance causes it to shake itself apart. Like if you look at a sewing machine or like a car engine, it kind of gets pretty bad if everything's really out of balance. Seems the quirks and features have been seen already. Yeah, you can skip through the video and see those quirks and features and whatnot. Topology optimization, yeah, it could be. They need a bigger printer. They're gonna have a max version of this. I'm fairly certain. They told me about this a while ago. They've got a plus version that's gonna be 300 by 300 by maybe 400. I'm not sure what their usual height is for those. Knocked to a 24 volt on my... Oh, nice. That's great. Yeah, I have... Yeah, did you use one of these for your Noctua fan mod? So they're copying the A1? I wouldn't say so. This was announced before the A1. There's no way they developed this in response to the A1. Because, yeah. Yeah, I've tested it out. I've tipped the printer on its back onto the bed cable and nothing bad has happened. So I think they've done some solid improvements over the A1's design. Do you have a link for that exact printer? I don't think this one's on sale yet. It'll be like 2 or 3 weeks. I'll try and have a video out when it goes on sale that'll have like more information, more concisely, you know, whatever. Maybe I'll do some other testing on it, but yeah. So now it's just doing bed leveling. It's going to do all 4 corners. Now, everyone likes to make fun of Creality and say they copy other companies, but I don't think a lot of you realize that Creality is one of the most copied companies in the world of 3D printing. Like, there's so many Ender 3 clones out there, it's insane. So, you know, say what you want about Creality, but their products are copyable because they're good. So, you know. And I think they're doing this, like, ease of use thing a lot better than a lot of different other people. Like, all the clones haven't got to the stage where you can just plug it in and it'll automatically calibrate itself. Creality's been, like, really adopting the bed leveling and getting rid of any kind of manual adjustments to get started with the printer. Will it start fire like the A1? I don't think so. Any multicolor coming? Yeah, Creality, I believe, is working on multicolor. So is Elegoo, Frozen, Soval probably is. Like, every company's got to be working on this multicolor thing. It's not CoreXY, it's CoreXY. Okay, sorry, it's CoreXY. I mean, if I tipped it back, then it'd be CoreXY. I live in Italy, where we have basically the K1s and Ender 3 V3s. Put 2 letters randomly. K1S and the Ender 3 V3. There you go. Okay. Well, bed leveling's almost finished. Now this took like an hour longer than it needed to. I'm sure I could have set this up in maybe 30 minutes if I was just following the instructions. And if I was setting up multiple of these, it would probably only take like 15 minutes per device to get everything started and ready to print. So I gotta rewind this spool here because I messed it all up. Okay. And then I guess I put this on to help keep the spool behaving. And let's see, shelf check complete. This thing's ready to go. So here we are. Let's see what we've got. Local files. There's a bunch of local files on here already. I mean, I could just print all of these out. It came with a flash drive, so we'll see what's on there. USB drive. It's got like the same. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same models as that are on the printer. I always like checking the history tab because sometimes when they send me a printer, the history tab will have stuff on it, like they tested it out. But it looks like they wiped that before they sent this over. So I'm just going to print off of the local memory. And I don't know, chat. Let me know which one I should print. I'm going to give you a little view. So we've got spool guider, scraper, camera mount, spool guider part A, benchy, stringing test, and overhang test, all sorts of like, you know, print test thingies. Okay, everyone's saying benchy. Okay, all right, benchy it is. There's the CR test cube, so Creality test cube. There's a spool holder that I think goes on the top. And then the last page has a phone stand, which I don't need a phone stand. Well, maybe it could be useful for filming. I should probably print one out. But you're saying benchy. It says 13-minute benchy. We'll see how fast it goes. So I'm loaded up with Hyper PLA. I'm going to skip the calibration because I just, did the calibration. I'll just hit print. And I'm going to make sure my filament's loaded, which I haven't loaded it yet, so... Okay, I was just making sure the filament's loaded up. No, I pull it. Yeah, we got our filament in there. I didn't push it through the nozzle, so it might it might shoot a blank. Might be shooting blanks for the first couple steps there. There's got to be some sort of algorithm going on here. So it has to wipe the nozzle off before it uses it to probe to find Z equals 0. Calibration cauliflower. Don't you have to pay for that one? I don't like paying for models. Still thinking of grabbing a K1. V3KE is better than this V3. I would say with the V3KE, it's going to be slightly more moddable, but slower and not as well built. So I'm actually working on a mod for my Ender 3 V3s. I'll actually bring one in here so you can check it out. But this is going to be like a standalone platform where you don't really have to, you're not going to mod it. It's just going to work out of the box. It's got adequate part cooling, enough flow, all that kind of stuff. Interesting. So there's this thing at work. It's preventing, it's moving up and down to prevent this this spool from getting out of control as it's moving up and down. Okay. So this doesn't count against the benchy, okay? We got to do this 10-minute long calibration thingy before we get started here. And for some reason, this doesn't count against the time. But we'll allow it. All right, here you can see the bed heating up, the hot end heating up. You can kind of see how fast it heats up. Now at 200, 210, 220. So multiple degrees per second. Heats up quite fast. Oh no. So it wasn't extruding for the first little bit because I didn't prime the nozzle, but it looks like it should be fine. So it extruded a little white plastic. I'm sorry, this thing's funny. It's ridiculously fast. So let me get you up close to the action here. Creality has entered the chat. Ah. This looks like 2 walls to me. I think the speed bench here rolls is 2 walls, 0.25 millimeter layer height, and like 10 or 15% infill. I assume this is following the rules though, because it looks like a pretty solid model. I'm pretty sure this is faster than the A1. How fast does the A1 do its speed, Benchy? "12 minutes? Really? On the A1? That's surprising." They were doing some tricks though, like they changed the type of infill to be like, you know, instead of cross-hatched like it's kind of the normal one, they kind of had the infill going forwards and backwards like this. I don't think it was 12 minutes. We're gonna need some fact checkers in here. What's the A1 Benchy speed? This is very important. Okay, well, that's going to be going in the background. Someone was asking about the K1 or the Ender 3 V3 KE. So my response is basically, this is not a moddable machine at all. This is more like, you know, your Bamboo Lab type machines where it's not very modder friendly. Like you won't really be able to change a whole lot of parts out on it. I assume there will be an aftermarket, and I assume you'll be able to flash the firmware, so it'll be more moddable than the Bamboo Lab machines, but it's not going to be as moddable as like the old Ender 3s. This is something I've been working on here. So this is an Ender 3 V3 SE, and as you can see, it's different than a normal Ender 3 V3 SE. Can you see what's different here? Yeah, so I've been working on this way of turning the Ender 3 V3 platform into something moddable. Everybody's saying torture toaster. My gosh. Okay, fine. I'll download the torture toaster. Let me get the torture toaster going. All right, we're almost to 400. Let's go, guys. All right, so I'm going to download the torture toaster since everybody wants to see a torture toaster. Is that Marlin? No, it's, this is running Clipper. Okay, so let's download the torture toaster since everybody wants to see it. The only issue is I don't have the slicer profiles for this machine yet. So I'm just going to slice it, assuming it's a K1, which is not going to be perfect, but it should be okay, I guess. Alright, so I'm downloading the torture toaster now. And we'll open it up in Creality print. Actually, I'm gonna do Orca Slicer. I like Orca Slicer. I can't be the only one. Okay. All right, Lightspeed, you're getting a little weird, which is, I think, a normal occurrence for you. So we'll just let you be. Are your new mods? Let's see. All right, I'll slice it with Orca, and I'll use the K1 profile if I have that on here. All right, here's our Orca slicer thingy. Clock spring torture toaster. Oh man, this is looking good. Look at that. I've got a whole 10 pixels for you to see how good the benchy is. All right, I'll do you one better than that. I'll give you a close-up. Here goes. What do you think of the benchy? I should note that this Creality Hyper PLA, this blue stuff especially, shows a lot of, like, it shows any imperfections very clearly. So the fact that this looks as clean as it does is pretty impressive. All right, I'll get the torture toaster. It's two walls. It's not the cheater Prusa benchy that they did when that came out. What was it, like a 9-minute benchy? Everyone was like, what? How is that possible? I'm gonna navigate to, okay. Hold on. Gotta find my IP. Okay. Does anyone remember the trick that you have to do to get to the web browser version of this? Like, you have to put a port number at the end, and it's like the standard one for all right, well, this is almost done, so we'll take a look at that in a second. Now, I have this machine before it's got like the public, you know, it's before it's supported on Creality print. So it's showing up as F001. I'll go ahead and add it and take a look. So I can open up the details tab and see all this information about the print that's going currently. I guess the back fan isn't on. Oh no, it's on. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the benchy. Here's the test filament that they had at the bottom, so it's there's a little bit of gray in there. But Looks pretty good if you ask me. Maybe it's under extruding a little bit. That'd probably be my primary complaint. But for, 13 minutes, not bad. Okay, now, let's see, what are we gonna do? Torture toaster, right? So here's the torture toaster. Creality's doing some good stuff to keep up with Bamboo. Good on them. Hey Marlon, firmware. Did you try drying your filament? This is a fresh spool of filament, so yeah. How long will it take? Let's see. Torture toaster, let's slice it using standard print profile. We'll see how it goes. I'll change this to Hyper PLA. Creality, high flow, generic speed PLA, I guess. Let's see what we got. It's saying 5 hours. Are you serious? Siri thinks I'm talking to it. No. Alright, that's going to take too long, guys. We're not going to do that on stream. Maybe I'll start it up at the end. But let's go do some other stuff. Here's an 87-minute print. Huh. First layer test? Okay, let's do a first layer test. Give me one moment. Okay, so this is how I do my first layer. I have to import a model. Upload model. I like Orca Slicer because you can like do some stuff where you're just hold on. You can just add a primitive, so you right click, add primitive, cube. And then you can change the size of the cube. We'll make it 220. We'll just go to 210. We'll leave a little bit off the edges. Oh, no, we want 210 millimeters. Then we'll make it 0.2 millimeters thick. There's our first layer test. And then I'll do the torture toaster later. That's like, it's a little excessive. And then center that. And now I'm going to slice this. Export G-code. And then you can actually upload your G-code in Creality print and send it over to your printer, even if you slice it in a different slicer. So I can go to this file tab, click import down here. I click import and that'll bring up my file explorer. And then open that, and it imported it instantly. It's a pretty small file, so it didn't take a long time. So now we can go down here. It's not showing up there, but I can click it here. Start printing. There you go. And it even has a preview. That's cool. So I don't know how, I guess Orca Slicer knows how to load the previews into the K1, so that's pretty cool. Oh, I touched it. Hopefully that didn't ruin everything. Benchy. What do you think? I don't see a print time. No, it's not on there. It has the temperature and it has a preview of the model, but no print time. So there must be some kind of metadata that it isn't attaching to the file there. But anyways, I've got this plate, and this is what I'm using for my Ender 3. This is what I'm using for my... Hold on. There we go. This is what I'm using for my Ender 3 V3 KE and Ender 3 V3 SE mods. So I can bolt all the components to this platform. And I need to do some more CAD modeling and finish out the base, but you can see it's attached here. And that's available for pre-order on my website, Nathan Sells Robots. So if you want to check that out, if you got a V3 SE or KE that you want to mod. But it's also compatible with the Ender 3, the Ender 3 Pro, the Ender 3 V2, the Ender 3 S1, the Ender 3 S1 Pro, the the 3 CR10 SE, the Ender 3 Ender 3 V3 SE, the Ender 3 V3 KE, the Artillery Hornet, let's see what else, the Elegoo Neptune 3, the Elegoo Neptune 4. So basically I tried to make it like compatible with everything. I did like a write-up about it on my my website, on my Patreon, and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we're going to get started with this pretty soon. First layer test. According to Orca Slicer, it should take 17 minutes. So that's not too bad. If there's anything else that you want to test out on here, other than a torture toaster. Torture toaster's a little bit too long. Oh, thank you, World Series of Ghosts. Yep, it's not really a sweater. It's just a thick turtle crew thing. You should convert one of your Ender 3 V2s and under to the CoreXY Ender 3 NG. So, no, SE stands for Super Easy, and KE stands for Clipper Edition. What speed did you choose for the first layer? Let's see. First layer speed is set to 50 millimeters a second. You think it should go faster than that? I can turn the speed up. I can like increase the speed if you want to see it go faster. But we'll see how it's looking, and then we'll turn the speed up. Oh dang it, was wrong. Kinda agrarious. SE stands for Sprite Extruder. Well, they all use a Sprite Extruder. Alright, let's see. Can the Ender 3 V3 put down a good first layer? This is something so many companies mess up, so I hope it does a good job because, you know, we don't need any more printers that make bad first layers. It sounds pretty cool though. Yeah, this one is neither Super Easy nor Clipper, but it's actually both. Bump speed by 50%. Yeah, I'll speed it up. Loving my P1S, but the AMS is a POS. Yeah. I can't recommend Bamboo Lab printers anymore because I don't have an affiliate code. So how am I supposed to recommend them, you know? B! Alright, these are some really nice looking first layers. Oh yeah, World Series, they kicked me off of their affiliate program because I was talking too much shit, basically. The thing is I'm critical of every printer I get in for review. Virtually every printer, I find like, you know, the more you know about something, the more you can dig into the details and find issues with the design. If I just got printers in and was like, oh yeah, look, it printed a dragon. Here's the affiliate code. Okay, thanks, bye now. That's like what I feel like most companies want, but I don't do that here. So I get into the details, I look at all the stuff under the hood, and I find issues that most people don't see because they're not looking close enough. And, you know, I really don't like that about Bamboo, is that they don't seem to like the criticism. And that's why, you know, they don't want me covering their products. They've never really been forthcoming about sending me the printers early versus a lot of other companies are. Because I'm not a guaranteed shill for them. I'm not going to guarantee that, oh yeah, I'll say the printer's good. I'm going to be like, let me get it in, let me see how it is. And even if I don't like it, I might still make a video about it anyways. And I guess some companies don't like that. Only arrived now. F me, you're getting started 2 hours ago. Anything interesting happened? Well, I forgot to flip the power switch. That's the, yeah. When the review is honest, you're not saying shit. Yeah. You just, I mean, it's really common in the review space for people to just not make a video if they don't have good things to say about the product, which is kind of like, you have a shilling bias then. Like, you're always gonna push for a sale if the only way you're gonna get paid is through making sales. I have a lot of issues with the way that, like, the whole affiliate marketing and YouTube, tech YouTube and all that stuff is done. Like, I don't think it's set up to be in anyone's best interest. I think it's set up to sell as much shit as possible. And, yeah. The belt's on the back of the frame? Yeah, I can show you. Let's get a close-up of this stuff. It's looking pretty good. Okay, let's take a look at the back. Well, I'll just flip this around so I can see what I'm showing you. Okay, there you go. It's actually really cool back there. This is more like a Creality switch wire. How loud is the part cooling fan? I haven't done the sound tests. I can't do those right now because I use my phone to do the sound test and I think it would interrupt the stream. But just earballing it, it sounds like about 53 decibels, maybe 55, which is a little loud, but it's unenclosed and it's a high-speed printer, so it's kind of what you get. Isn't there a backplate for this? I see holes for one. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I guess you could 3D print like something to cover all this stuff up to make it look cleaner, but no, this is always gonna bump into that when you move up there. Maybe. I don't know, maybe there's ways to attach some stuff up here. We'll have to look into that like later. But it looks like the screw is used to attach something over here, and they just have one mirrored on this side. But yeah, I mean, this appears to be pretty serviceable. because you can pop these rails out pretty easily. There's just 2 screws holding that in. I guess you might... Whoa! No, they have screws holding these ones in too. Do you see that? This is a first. We have a CoreXY stage that's actually user serviceable. On the Bamboo Lab machines as well as the K1s, they're like pretty difficult to take apart because a lot of parts are glued together. But it looks like this one is staying somewhat true to the Bamboo Lab, or staying somewhat true to the Ender 3 roots of being user serviceable. Okay, I'm going to crank the speed up. Let's see if we can do that. Alright. Speed, okay, right there. Let's set it to silent mode. We'll see what silent mode does. That's not a whole lot different, it's just slower. Alright, let's go to ultra fast. 125% speed. Alright, we've established that it does a decent first layer, right? Do you ever adjust the squareness? I have never done that personally. Usually I just modify my designs to be more tolerant of being out of square. So yeah. Alright, so we've established that this is putting down a pretty decent first layer that's super consistent across the board. Let's turn up the speed until it fails. 200%. Let's go. Those accelerations are too slow. Let's, I don't know if there's a way for me to turn those accelerations up. This test bores me. Let's print something else out. How do I get rid of... Alright, it's under extruding a little bit at this speed. I'll just put it back to standard. But yeah, this is going to be a super inconclusive test because I've been testing out all sorts of random stuff. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do here is just fire up the torture toaster. I think everyone wants to see that. So let's go ahead and get it ready. The only thing I need to do here is get rid of the brim. I don't want to have this brim. Does anyone know how to get rid of that? All this blue stuff here. I forget how to do that in Bamboo Studio / whatever this is. I think you have to do right click, edit process settings. Graft. brim width. Okay, no brim. There we go. There we go. Yeah, that got rid of it. So, I don't know. Should I print this at high speed or go for quality? What do you think? I think I should go for quality. I don't understand this slicer. Where's all my settings? Global. Okay, global versus object. I see it. So, I mean, I should probably go for quality. And I'm going to slow down the outer wall speed a little bit to increase quality. So let's give it a try. There we go. Importing the Torture Toaster G code, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Yeah, so it transfers files pretty quickly and you can do it while the printer's running. So, pretty good workflow there for uploading files. Let's see, power loss recovery, it probably does. Every Creality printer I've tested has power loss recovery, so why not? Yeah, let's test it out. Most machines have that nowadays, but we'll see. Alright, now that booted back up, is it gonna be like, oh no, what happened? Nope. I don't know. Does anyone use power loss recovery? I'm going to switch over to the Torture Toaster. Let's peel this off. This is stuck on there pretty good though. Alright. So no power loss recovery. The first half of this printed good, and then I was messing around with the speed, and it started under extruding a little bit. So, I don't know. We don't really know what happened there because I was messing around with too many settings at once. But it was stuck down there pretty good, so I don't think it would have caused an issue on a larger print. If anything, I guess I'd like to see this thing increase the extrusion a little bit, like bump up the flow ratio. I think that's something you can do in Creality print. You can bump that up. I'm not sure if there's a way to do flow compensation in the actual file here or using the settings here. So I guess that's kind of missing from, you know, the Creality clipper. Anything about the price? I think it's probably going to be between $300 and $400. How's the bed cable? The bed cable's fine. We can tip it up like this and everything. Why is it 200 more than the SE? It'll be between 200 and 400. I don't know. What new features make it worth more? It's a lot faster than the SE, and it's like, I don't know. It's nicer. Prints faster. It's got a nice touch screen. It's got that clipper interface. I think this thing will be performing at its best when we get normal clipper on it. Yeah, and linear rods, pretty thick ones at that, all around. The whole thing's made with linear rods. Kind of reminds me of like the Prusa machines. They use linear rods all around. Yeah, I'm sure you could root this if you had the time and knowledge of how to do that, but I'm lazy and I don't want to, so I'm not going to until someone else figures it out, and then I'll totally just copy what they did and get this thing running clipper. What material are the linear rods made out of? They're almost always made out of stainless steel, so they're probably stainless steel. A lot of companies are using... Oh, whoa, that's... So the bed, this cable over here on the side was touching the bed and making it think the nozzle was touching. So maybe that's something I need to do with another zip tie, is route it over to this side. So maybe if you have that issue, get another zip tie on it and control that filament path. I think I can do that right now, actually. There we go. This is fun. All right, now we're just gonna watch the torture toaster. Not the whole thing, but at least the start of it. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, it shakes around when it does the input shaping calibration. Man, these first layers are just so nice nowadays. That's like some stepper vibration noise coming from something. Oh yeah, I also, I didn't put this on properly. Let me just... I didn't clip this on all the way, so that's probably might be causing some of that noise. But it's working for now, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll fix that later. And I don't think it's going to actually affect print quality. This is Creality Hyper Series PLA. They send me a bunch of this stuff, so I'm like, yeah, I'll use it with your printers, sure. Someone was telling me that they were like, I think you know that Creality Hyper PLA isn't any faster. It's been proven. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. It works good for printing, so I use it. All right. Any other questions? Like, anyone try the V-belt wheels, V-wheels on their printers? V-wheels work good. I don't know what everyone hates on V-wheels for. Yeah, Ender 3 V3. Wow, I don't know. I haven't checked it for residue. It probably has some sort of additives in it. A lot of PLAs do, especially the proprietary blends. They're not just PLA. They've got other crap in there. Look at these little blobs that it lays down. They're so nice. I think this one has the unicorn nozzle, the new proprietary nozzle system. It's like 3 different pieces pressed together. I just go with the cheapest filament typically. For stuff that I buy, I just get the cheapest stuff. When I do tests with Creality printers, I just use the Hyper PLA because they're tuned to be used with that. And they work really well with it. But I'm sure you'd get plenty of fine results just using the cheapest PLA or PETG you can get. If you sped up the print, how bad does the rattling get? I don't know. It'll speed up after the first layer, so I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I agree. It should be named Ender 3 V3KE. That would be a cool name. Or no, Ender 3 V3K1. Yeah. All right, I hear something happening in the other room. Let's go check it out. Uh-oh. This can't be good. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Okay, let's go ahead and stop that. Yes, let's stop. See, not all printers in 2024 have perfect first layer qualities. Under extrusion up here, over extrusion down here. I've been trying everything to get this printer to work. I don't know. This is a really good printer. It's just the first layers are really bugging me on it. It prints good stuff. It's just like when you try to do the first layer test, it sucks at it. So, like I literally just printed this on this machine and it printed without any issues. But when I try to do this like sheet of paper thing, it doesn't work all that well. Is that a problem? I don't know. If you can print stuff, should it matter? I don't know. What do you think? Anyways, back to this. I think printers tend to be tuned to under extrude a little bit. I've seen it on all of my printers, even the A1. that I was testing, it was under extruding when I was doing the speed benchy test. So I think in general, printer companies tend to make their printers under extrude a little bit because that causes less failures than over extrusion. And it causes prettier prints than over extrusion. Over extrusion makes things look real bad. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. I think that you should always have a flow adjustment tab in your printer because that's something that can really fix some things. If you want to control that, you should be allowed to. Okay, this thing's going fast. Woo! Well, the Ender 5S1 came out over 2 years ago. No, over a year ago. Yeah, printers are changing fast. Okay. Wow. You know what that noise is? Where it sounds like it's a gun, like it's like bunk, bunk, bump. That's the Z hops. That's the Z hops is making that noise. All right, sorry if you have like a seizure condition. This is like a lot of flashing colors. This thing's moving too fast. This printer needs to calm down. Well, I'll just set the phone on the table so you can see. This extrusion's looking really clean too. Yeah, I agree. Creality should be all over it. Well, Logan, the thing is they understand what's going on in the market. Like, they're not dumb. So I think they really stepped up their design efforts in the last year, and you know, they're working on making some compelling products. This is one of them, definitely. Like, completely die-cast frame, minimum number of parts, really easy setup and assembly, prints really fast, great user interface. It's missing a couple options here that I'd like to see, but you know, if you really want to, you'll be able to like put clipper on this and get full control over it. Do you have to sell your soul to Creality's online services? No, you can just skip it. It asks you to agree to the user. Let me just set up the camera again. So when I was setting this up, you can back up and watch that if you want at that part in the stream. But it asks you to agree to the user terms, and just don't check the box and hit next. And it's like, okay, fine. But also, I just don't run this on the internet. I never run my printers on the internet because I don't really feel like that's necessary. Yep. It's hard to tell what's going on. It's moving too fast. All right. Who says you'll be able to put clipper on it? Well, you can put clipper on any of the K1 printers, which are running the same hardware. So I'm fairly certain. Like, I'd be very surprised if you couldn't put clipper on it. Not having flow control would be nice when having to speed up printing. It doesn't have a camera. But I'm pretty sure you could put one on here if you wanted to. Because you've got a hole back there. You could bolt one right there if you wanted to. And then like kind of have it looking down like this. That'd be a pretty good angle. The table is not shaking that much. Here's the table. It's shaking a little bit. I'm confident that it'll be able to use custom firmwares and standard clipper eventually. Yeah, I agree. MSRP should be between 300 and 400. I don't have the exact number. This thing would be a hoot with a nozzle camera. Let's set the camera on the bed. There we go. Sup the real Johnny D. Does it have Ethernet? I don't think it has an Ethernet port. I looked at the board like around 30 minutes in this stream. So if you go back to about the 30-minute mark, I'm looking at the main board, and if it has an Ethernet port on it, you'd be able to see it there. Usually they'll have an unpopulated Ethernet port because they don't expect most people to be using Ethernet on these machines. In better shape than the A1s. Yep. I think it uses the K1C nozzle. I was looking at it earlier, and that's what it appears to be. That unicorn nozzle. So I'm glad that Creality is using it across their product line. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The fact that they're using it across their product line means that they'll probably be stocking a lot of, spares and getting the price down because it'll be a pretty common wear item. versus if it was just like a custom nozzle that was on one printer, then, you know. Yeah, I think it'd make a good stablemate with the K1 Max. The thing is, if you have a K1 Max, you don't really need a K1. So if you can get something a little bit cheaper like this, and this I think should have better part cooling than the K1 because of, you know, the Bedslinger nature of it, and it having 2 part cooling fans. I didn't hear this hyped up enough. I mean, it's got the part cooling fan up here, and it's got another one back here. Dual part cooling fans. Business in the front and the back. I don't know if I'm the first one with a V3. I think they were sending them out like this week, and I just got mine in, so I'm like, let's check it out. Yeah, I don't know how you can call this a printer. Here's the Benchy again, for those of you who missed it. What was the Benchy? Was it like 12 minutes? I think it was 1 minute longer than it claimed it was. So it said 13 minutes, maybe it took 14, maybe it took 12, I don't know. I don't remember. How's the back when printing with the back look with printing with the CoreXY? Well, there's the back. It's got like a tensioning spring inside of there somewhere. It's a pretty complex setup. Cable management is really good. You got this bed cable. This bed cable is like a centimeter thick. All right, so apparently Bamboo Lab and Creality aren't sharing notes on how to make a Bedslinger because Creality's got it figured out. But it seems like Bamboo Lab hasn't figured it out yet. There's your filament runout detection sensor. And the other thing I'm excited to see about this is I'm hoping that these are removable. These rods. So you could like completely service this potentially, if I'm seeing this correctly. Personally, I don't know. I haven't tested out the Diamondback nozzle. The Diamondback nozzle is like the polycrystalline nozzle thing. I think they need to send some of those out to reviewers to like kind of evaluate their claims, because like it's kind of hard to believe that it's like a real diamond and that it performs like, you know, magic so much better. I think it's something that needs further testing. So if they sent me one, I would be glad to do it and like run some side-by-side prints. But I find that there's a lot of high-quality nozzles out there. Look at Slice Engineering, Bond Tech. They all make really good stuff. And Micro Swiss. And they're all like probably 4 times less expensive than the Diamondback. So, you know, you don't have to spend a ton of money. Try out some high-end nozzles that aren't $100 first and see if you really want to try anything else. Diamond has crazy high heat conduction. Yeah, that's true. But how much does it matter? Because the main bottleneck with transferring heat is transferring the heat into the plastic. Yeah. Yodo Woody, I did a tour at the Micro Swiss factory. It was pretty cool. They have a lot of nice machines set up there, and they seem to take quality really seriously, which is something that used to be true about a lot of 3D printer companies, but I mean, yeah, Bondtech CHT nozzles are the way to go. That's like my go-to as well. They're like super unsticky and they have high flow rate. I've been trying out the Slice Engineering, forget what it's called. Anyways, their newest series, what is it called? Slice Engineering Magic Tech Nozzles. I forget. Might go Micro Swiss on my basic Ender 3. Yeah, I like the Micro Swiss has one of the best extruder upgrades on the market. So just being able to grab a yeah, I agree. It is a little unmodded for my taste. You know what I think this printer could use is one of the giant Noctua fans on the bottom, the 200 millimeter one, to quiet everything in the base down, and then maybe get some quieter, turn the part cooling fans down a little bit. I think I could get this machine running pretty quietly. And stop Y still triggered after retract. Any solution for a clipper error? Well, either there's something wrong with your Y stop then, or your main board. It could be that the main board's fried and it's constantly thinking the Y is triggered. For faster flow, one could heat up the filament to 60°C in the heat ahead of the heat block. That would cause an issue. That could possibly cause an issue with heat creep. Like you don't want to mess with that. Just make the melt zone longer if you want to heat the filament up more. Bamboo said no more Bedslingers. I think they misspelled this. I guess it was supposed to be 2 more Bedslingers. Now it's going to be 3 more Bedslingers in a bit here. They're about to come out with their big version, but maybe they have to put that on hold with their bed technology being all messed up, the cables, so they might have to rework it. Frankenstein's monster doesn't like Bamboo Lab printers. He says fire bad. That's true. Frankenstein also doesn't like that Bamboo Lab printers can't be disassembled and reassembled in strange and wonderful ways. How many have actually caught fire? They say the failure rate is like 0.1%. So out of every 1,000 sold, 1 failure. I don't know what that means. Is that one case of one like catching on fire and someone seeing it and reporting it to them? Or is that their expected failure rate after 1 year? You know, they're not giving a whole lot of information there. And the whole thing is they want you to return it and buy a P1S. They're just trying to upsell you with their fuck up. I'm sorry, their mess up. We can bleep that out. Not gonna lie, such a fast-moving printer makes me nervous. I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere. At this point, I bet Bamboos are wishing they stood by their no more Bedslingers. I don't know, they have to hit that lower price point of the market. They'd be silly not to. A Diamondback CHT insert. Yeah, that would be cool. Diamondback CHT insert would be pretty awesome. There's this one nozzle called the Basel nozzle that you can heat up with a torch to clear out any jams. It just vaporizes the filament. I'd like to see more of that kind of stuff. Let's see how this is doing. I'm a little nervous because I had my greasy hands all over this plate and I didn't like wash it with alcohol or anything. So I'm hoping everything stays stuck to the bed. I assume it will. We'll see. Alright, thanks for joining Antixo. Yeah, Gamma Master, George White, you've got it. So I think I'm gonna call this quits at the 3-hour mark. I think 3 hours is enough live streaming for one day, so that'll be in 9 minutes. So any last questions or things you want to check out on this printer, let me know, and we'll take a look. Micro Swiss hot end for the K1 worth the money. I had 2 clogs in the stock hot end in the past week. Yeah, that sucks. Personally, I think the issue with the K1 hot end is that it's not transferring enough heat out of the top part, you know, where the heat sink is. Thanks for the stream and have a good day further, Nathan. Yes, thank you, crazy person. Micro Swiss is on the K1 already too, dang. Yeah, so Micro Swiss has made a mod. It should be compatible with pretty much all of Creality's new stuff. Greetings from Germany. Nice to see you. I was just in Germany last year for Formnext, and it was a great time. Great stream, but microphone next time. Yeah, I'll put my microphone on next time. This printer's kind of loud, so it kind of necessitates the live stream mic. P1S, yeah, that's a pretty good printer. Tons of Creality shit too, yeah. You gotta have more than one printer. Always a great source of info. Thank you, Protocol 7. Good stream. What's the next step in Bedslingers in your opinion? Personally, in my opinion, I think Bedslingers need to get on the modability train. So this is my modder plate that I've been working on to basically modify any under, like, just be able to mix and match parts between all sorts of different printers. So right now, I have this Ender 3 V3 SE set up with the plate, but I could remove the top half of this and replace it with the top half from a Neptune 4 or, you know, the CR10 SE. So I can mix and match parts between completely different model lines. So I would really like to see manufacturers embrace modability and modularity a lot more. My perfect example is if you look at computer hardware, you can take 2 desktop computers, switch all the components between them, turn them both on, and they'll work just fine. You might need to download a couple drivers or something, but you know, everything goes together. There's the ATX standard, so you can pull out a power supply, put a new one in, you can replace the graphics card, you can put new RAM in there, you can put new storage in. So I think that's what the next thing needs to be for Bedslingers. You're already running into like the speed limits. Like, I don't see printers getting much faster than this. Like, what's the point of going faster than this? Can someone explain that to me? You know, do you really need to be going 600 millimeters a second? So yeah, I think modability has to be the next thing, and Bedslingers are perfectly suited for modability because they don't have an external frame boxing them in. If you look at, I mean, I've got them all over the floor. If you look at these, you know, CoreXY printers, I mean, that's a partisan printer, but you get the idea. They're boxed in, so you can't mix and match parts because everything's designed to fit tightly together. But when you look at Bedslingers, they're not constrained by anything, so yeah, just take the top half off one, put the, you know, put another one on. I think that's what it's got to be. If your mainboard / PSU can handle 2 amps, it should be okay. Now that I'm returning my A1, what printer should I get other than that one you're looking at now? I mean, this one's pretty good. Creality has a lot of really good Bedslingers. If you want to stay in like that lower, under $400 price point, it's hard to beat Creality. Also, there's Elegoo. They make some good stuff. One of my personal favorites lately has been this guy. The FlashForge printers. So they recently had a sale where the Adventure 5M Non-Pro Edition was $299, which is like an insane deal. It's like similar build volume as this, 600 millimeters per second, you know, speeds. is just a good printer, but maybe they did that sale because this is going to be one of their competitors, because, you know, this has basically the same feature set. The only difference is that Adventure 5M Non-Pro is a CoreXY non-enclosed printer, but you could easily put panels on it and upgrade it to be an enclosed printer in the future if you wanted to. Comparison between the KE and the V3? Yeah, sure, that's actually a good idea. Modifiability for the last 5 years, the market is moving away from that so Mr. Average can use them. Yeah, Frank, I agree. But then again, you have desktop computers, which the mainstream user does use, like, and it also has modability. So I don't think that the two are necessarily one or the other. I think we're only in that situation right now because that choice is being forced upon us. But there should be a high-speed platform that's also modular. And the fact that nobody's really focused on that is kind of bothering me. Yeah, it's still on sale, but it's out of stock in the US. So if you can actually order it, it's a great deal. But, you know, if you can't, then the sale price doesn't matter. So, yeah. Yep, 3D printers. Yeah, local repair resources near the end user. I think the closest thing to that is Micro Center. If you go to a Micro Center, you can get a lot of spare and replacement parts for your 3D printers. Also, with Amazon next day shipping and like, you basically have repair parts on hand for all your printers, as long as they're still supporting them and selling parts for it. That's what's nice about going with a printer that gets widespread market adoption, is that the parts for it, you know, they stick around for longer. It's kind of like if you have an old Honda Civic, you can get, like, even if it's from the 80s, you can probably still get replacement parts for it. Versus if you have like an old, I don't know, like Buick, whatever Buick makes, you may or may not be able to find parts. That's actually not the best example because that's part of GM and they all share parts, but you know what I mean. Adventure 5M, yeah, that's a good option. Yeah, but repairability and serviceability is kind of the same as modability, in my opinion. It's not exactly, but you know, you can have a highly proprietary system that's repairable and serviceable, but not moddable. But a printer that's repairable and serviceable lends itself well to being modded because you can take things apart and put them back together easily, which means you can take things apart and put them back together with different components easily as well. Well, thanks everyone for joining. The stream was off to a little bit of a slow start, but we got some good banters going on. We took a look at all the different little subcomponents of this printer. You know, like the base, the stuff in the back, all that kind of stuff. I'll do another video about this and, you know, release it kind of coinciding with the printer release, because this isn't on sale yet, so, I mean, but I figured you might want to learn a little bit about it. I'll post a picture of this torture toaster when it's done. Should be about 5 hours from now, it'll wrap up. What do you think, Ender 3, V3, or K1? I think the K2. I would get the Ender 3 V3 or the K2. Just based on what I've seen on this thing initially, I believe that this is a better design that's going to be more durable and last longer. Because it's got like, this basically has K2 level hardware on it. It's got a completely redesigned PCB in the top end. It's got a different heat sink. They kind of spread things out. They have better part cooling with dual part cooling fans on this kind of slim setup. I think this is what the K2 is going to look like when Creality comes out with that. So, you know, maybe that'll come around in 6 or so months. I'm guessing the K1C is like their mid-cycle refresh. But yeah, still recommending the Neptune 4 Plus after other options. I haven't been able to test out a Neptune 4 Plus. For some reason, Elegoo doesn't send me stuff. They sent me the Neptune 4 once. So, Yeah, I wish they would send me some more stuff because I really liked that Neptune 4. But since I haven't actually got hands-on with the 4 Plus or the 4 Max, I can't really say whether or not they would be good. Just because sometimes I get a smaller version of a printer and I like it, and then I get the big version and it's not the same thing. It's like, it sucks. So hopefully I can get something like that. I think this should be available like February 20th or so, like 20th to 28th. I don't know. End of February it should be available. But overall, I'm glad they took their time with this. Like, if they rushed to launch it and kind of messed everything up, that wouldn't be a good look for them. All right, 3D Bruno, greetings from Italy. Will you test the new FL Sun printers, the S1? I would like to. I'm not sure how they're going right now. What you got there just joining? All right, 3D Pathfinder, you're going to have to rewind and watch the stream because I explained most of it. This is the Ender 3 V3. It's basically the Creality K1, but in a Bedslinger format. So it's a pretty cool printer. It's working pretty well. Multicolor print head. Ooh. You know what? Maybe this is the halfway point for them creating the multicolor print head. Alright, you're welcome for the stream. I mean, I guess you could call it their version of the A1, but I mean, the Ender 3s, all of them are their version of the A1. I would say the KE is probably like their entry-level high-speed bedslinger, and then this is their like flagship high-speed bedslinger. Yeah. All right, we'll do a few last close-ups of our print. Carterson bedslingers will never die. It's just such a cheap, effective way to build a 3D printer. That's always going to be an option, I feel like. All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for joining, especially those of you who stuck around for the entire episode. I can see you. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon. I don't do a whole lot of sponsored content anymore just because I burn all my bridges when I get sent a crappy product. It happens far too often. But that's why I rely on you guys for support. So hit up my Patreon. I got links to all that stuff in my video description. Also, I sell some stuff, and if you want to try it out, yeah. So, again, thanks everyone for joining, and I'll see you in the next episode. Is there any way to put the new K1C extruder on the K1 Max? I don't think so. Well, you'd have to replace a lot of parts on it. I think you might be able to if you tried hard enough, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay. Oh yeah, at least the hot end part of it. Alright, well, I'll see you guys later.